Happy Wednesday. I got Mike with me today. We're going to look at a few things that he's got going on in his business. Mike, tell me what you got going on, man.
Yeah. So last week, actually it was started 2-3 weeks ago. I sent a mailer out to, I was targeting Adams County in Colorado.
Okay.
And I pulled almost 3,000 records.
Mm-hmm.
And guess how many I actually was able to send out after I filtered it and
600.
rubbed it down. Good guess.
Yeah.
339.
Why? We're just too, like, the slope was insane and stuff like that?
I don't know. No, these were all out on the plains. So this is all basically east of Denver.
Okay.
And I haven't totally isolated, what it was. Some of it, I guess maybe was just, a lot of it got scrubbed out in the Land Insights. In fact, that's probably where most of it happened. And then we also had a bunch that, like, maybe, so Land Insight, I can show you or I can pull up the numbers here.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I share a screen? Is there a way to do
you can. Yeah, I think at the bottom you just hit present.
Yeah, there it is. Okay,
Yep.
Cool.
And then you share screen, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Select tab. I'll just do all of them. Yeah, and this would also the way that I'm tracking stuff. If you have any ideas on how to get better at this, I think I'm kind of probably micromanaging this, maybe a little too much, but I'll just kind of share with you how I think about it. Is that coming through okay?
Yeah, I see it. Great.
Cool. All right. So let me explain just a little bit. So this was Georgia. I'm going to come back to that. That was a postcard campaign that I did previously, but this one was Adams County, and actually this was sort of based on the conversation I had with Rylan on the what was it, like the launch party back in, I think, December. And I said, well, that's a cool idea. I'd love to do Adams County because I live, just like 10-15 minutes from there.
Yeah.
And it's a huge county. I mean, that actually encompasses, as you can see, a bunch of zip codes. But anyway, so these are my Land Insight settings here in this top section. Okay. And then my filters. So I'm looking at so you can see the 6-month sell-through rate and average days on market and the Gini and stuff. And then I'm pulling my data right now. I'm pulling my data from Priced. And so you can see here 29, 23. There's my total records that I pulled there. And then now I get after I scrubbed it through Land Insights, I guess, you know what, now I'm thinking about it. I went through and I manually did these most part. And I think a lot of the ones that got kicked out were floodplain or wetlands.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking about it, which is weird because that really surprised me. I didn't think that we had those here in Colorado. I thought that was like Florida or something,
Yeah, you got to look at it. I mean, it's everywhere, but you got to look at it too. Like if your area is having floodplains is normal, then you almost don't want to scrub that out. Like Florida, it's normal to be like,
oh, okay.
Florida, it's kind of normal to be in a flood zone in Florida, right?
Right.
Not like a flood zone. You got to look at the actual plain and what it is, but there's different types, and it's pretty normal. Like almost everything in Florida is like that. Any kind of flat area, especially like coming down from the bottom of a mountain,
right,
to have flood zones in it because just by constituted what it is, right? So yeah,
and that is definitely the case with Adams County. It really starts right at the foothills of the Rockies, and then it's all flat, very flat, heading out to Kansas.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty normal. It's gonna when it gets wet, it probably floods.
Okay.
So everything probably has a flood zone in it, but it still could be good land. Right. Just look at I would look at sold comps, and if you want, you could pull up some like recent sales in like Redfin or on Land Insights, whatever you want to do, and then do that. Why do you pull your data from Priced and then put it into Land Insights?
Well, it's a great question, and part of the answer is that they kind of got me hooked on
the pricing.
Well, I don't know about the pricing, but they have these comp reports.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I've stacked up like 200 of these comp reports, and I'm kind of like, well, shoot, I want to lose that.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong. You have land insights, is what I'm saying. Is like you're paying twice for the data, because what you're doing, you're downloading it from Price and then putting it into land insights, right? To
Yes.
scrub it. So
Yeah.
instead, if you run it through land insights, you're not going to pay for. You're only going to pay for the data you pull. You know what I
Right.
mean? Right. Minus your scrubbing, whatever the case may be. So like, is it saving you money or making? I don't know.
Yeah.
Run
No,
a
good
cost
question.
analysis. See.
Yeah. Yeah.
Run
I'm
a
gonna do
cost
that.
analysis to see if it makes sense to do that. I mean, I think at this point, land insights, the data pulling is about the same price, right? And then you could still keep priced for the comp reports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a great, yeah, it's a great question. Actually, that was kind of on, not the top of the list, but kind of a back burner project
sure.
was, evaluate. But shoot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you're right. I could just keep, I think I forget, like $50 a month.
Yeah, I think even the lowest plan is even cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I could do that, and that would enable me to keep the comp reports and then just use the
Mhm.
data from Land Insights.
Yeah, I think the comp reports are useful sometimes. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. Are they always right? No, but it's good to. It's a good quick fact checker. You know,
Yeah, well, and also, yeah, and I don't rely on it, but yeah, it's kind of like I use it to triangulate, like,
get a pulse.
hey,
Yeah.
these guys are saying this, and sometimes, stuff is just way out of whack, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what am I missing here? And the other thing that I like about those reports is there's, in there they give you sold and active comps, and sometimes you find stuff that's not listed on the
Hmm.
MLS that you go, oh, okay, yeah, I might have missed these if I hadn't found them somewhere else.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to use. I think it's great. As many tools as you could use to get a certain better price, use them
Right,
by all means. Use every freaking tool possible.
right, yeah,
Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, for data wise, it might be
yeah,
better for you to maybe just pull from one source and everything
right,
like that. Um, and also too, like when you go to look at it, when you could look at the data while you're on Land Insights and check to see why is it doing that, right?
huh,
Is there a lot of floodplains? Is
wow,
there
okay,
something on there? Right?
right,
That's my only thinking. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely, I'll definitely check into that.
yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get back to what you were saying. So, um, now what exactly were with Adams County? You're saying it was just basically scrubbed out a lot of stuff, and now,
Well, we could look at so I think we could look at, yeah, here it is. I think this will let us take a look, right? Yeah, so this will just give us some idea here. Let me pull it up to where we can see it. I guess the question would be then, how do you know, like if we're seeing a lot of, let's just scroll through till we find a few. Let's see here. Now, why is, oh, oh yeah, it's this tiny little thing here. Let's see if I can get a better example.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there is some. I mean, there's going to be some. I'm looking now. Like, it looks like there's on some of these like little portions of the map where there's like a river running through. There are
Right.
some flood zones, but I don't see anything major. Like,
Okay.
honestly, it's not anything that would constitute like crazy stuff.
This might be an example, although, oh, this has got like a structure on it. Let's see if we can find one without.
Hmm.
This is sort of an example. I mean, I don't know if it's a great example, but it shows like everything surrounding it, right, is flood zone.
Hmm.
So it sounds like what you're saying is if it's in an area where that's typical, then maybe we really don't need to scrub that out.
If it's like, yeah, and it's at your discretion, right? You're gonna have to look at the deal or parcel
Yeah.
itself and say like, okay, well, what is going on here, right? Is this just like a normal like flood zone? What kind of flood zone is it? Is it like a 500 year? Is it 100 year, 1,000 year? What is it?
Well, how would you tell that? How would you know?
Usually on the flood zone itself, when you look at the actual flood zone, it'll tell you like 100 year flood zone or a floodway, whatever it is. Like a floodway means it's going to flood, right? That
Right.
means that's where the excess water goes. Anything in a 100 year flood zone it's like once in 100 years it'll flood, and then
Yeah.
anything outside that once in every 500 years, right? So, zoom. Can you zoom out on that or no?
So it would be like this here.
Yeah, zoom out a little bit. Keep going. No, I don't see anything on there. Go to the left a little bit. See that flood over there?
This way or the other way?
The left. I'm sorry. Yeah, click that. Like hover above that flood over there.
This here?
Yeah, okay, it doesn't show it. So go into data platform. Top left.
Data, where is it? Oh, there.
Oh, top now, yeah. And then just type in Adams County, Colorado.
Right.
And then when you do that, turn on the flood zone layer.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
You'll just have to zoom in a little bit for it to show up. But turn on flood zone, surface water, wetlands. Turn on all three.
Right. All right. Well, let's just take a random kind of middle of the county here.
So now go ahead, hover over any of those flood zones.
Okay. So what's interesting is like, all right, let's take this one here. There we go.
You don't even have to click it, just hover over it. So it should show you, like, scroll around a little bit. I'm on it too, so I'm doing the same thing. For me, it's showing up, shows like 100 years. Scroll around to a different flood zone area. Oh, see, there it is. 100 year.
Oh, did it show up?
Yeah.
It just takes a minute.
It showed it. Move over to the right a little bit. It showed it to the right, not on the actual flood zone. Huh. Like where that road kind of thing is. It showed it right there.
Oh, there you go. Right there. Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know why it's showing it like that, but
yeah.
It definitely will show it. Now, if you look at some of the other ones, it'll say, like, zoom out. Anything that's like a green, that's going to be like a, yeah, so you go to the right of that parcel where you just were. Straight down. Yeah, zoom in a little bit. By 36, it says. Zoom in. Up north a little bit. All right, to the right. See where it's like green with the blue right there?
Oh, like this here. Yeah.
Yeah, zoom in a little further. Okay, right there. That should be, well, it's, go to the right. I think it looks like the screen's off. So go to the right. See how it's showing 500 flood year? Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a 500 year. Right. So stuff like that. When you look at that, that could be it. So you might be scrubbing out too much. Like you look at your parameters. Right. It might say like, are you scrubbing out 100% of flood zone?
Yes. So that's what I was doing. I was assuming that any flood zone I didn't want to mess with. So that's probably
usually I do 50%.
Okay.
50% of the property is a flood zone. If more than 50% of the property is a flood zone, I don't want it.
Right.
Because there's no buildable area. You'll never be able to do anything. So if you're scrubbing out.
So 50% of the property itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's 5 acres and 50% of it has flood zone on it, then it's still 2.5 good acres that are probably perkable, right?
Actually, yeah, no, actually I was using that that sort of thinking. So it wasn't like if it had any flood zone on it at all, if it was just 10% flood zone, I would say, well, this is usable, and then I would keep it. But so many of them had so much, it was like, throughout the whole parcel.
Okay. Might be good to look at it again, like with maybe hop on a call with Land Insights and have them look at the list. Maybe there was something like a bug with the list when you pulled it, because I don't see enough flood zones.
I know. No, I'm looking at it. It doesn't.
Yeah, like 85% of your property to be scrubbed out. That doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
And what size parcels were you doing?
Let's see. So I was searching. Let's see. Oh yeah, so acreage range was 5 to 100.
5 to 100.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Adams. I'm gonna just see real quick. I want to see how many come up. Okay. So, what other issues have besides that list? What else about this Adams County one?
Well, I think that was the main thing was like, holy cow, I started out with 3,000, end up with 300. Where did I go wrong on that? And, or should I just abandon this county? It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like it'd be worth abandoning. It seems like there'd be some opportunity here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just kind of what I was trying to puzzle out. And yeah, I think that's probably the main thing there.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a weird county because you've really got, this is one of the things that Ryland pointed out, was you really got these 3 areas. So you've got right close to Denver, which is very urban. And then you've kind of got this middle area. I don't know if it's going to show on this screen or not, but you've got sort of a middle area. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to get there, but anyway, you've got a middle area where it's, probably smaller parcels that it's kind of that just outside the city type thing where people are moving to, who, they want to get away from the city, but they're not going to start their own farm. And then as you get further east, it gets very, very, a lot of farm acreage, basically big parcels. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, it seems like there'd be some opportunity here.
Yeah.
I guess the thing would be to just go back and take a second look at that. And yeah, I'll definitely get on with Ari and see about, maybe he's got some ideas on what to do there. Yeah. Okay.
It could have been something with that selection like that. That's the only thing I could think of, because I'm looking at some of these parcels. Like, it could be the county itself has like an issue with their data, and like some of them are showing up that they're in flood zones that they're not, and it's just like skewing everything.
Right.
That could be kind of what it is. Because I'm clicking around some of these properties just to see what it is, and it's like, I'm not sure. Almost every one of them it looks like it's showing almost every one has a 100-year flood zone on it.
Huh.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little strange to me.
Maybe that's just how it is. And maybe people are still buying. And what matters at the end of the day is if people are buying and selling the land, it's not necessarily, a deal killer.
No, exactly. It's not, that doesn't mean it's a deal killer. It just means that, we got to work on some stuff or take a look at it,
Right.
Yeah, that's all. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I would take a look at that. Okay, cool. So we got that. What other things are?
Yeah, just generally, what I'd love to know is, what's a good process for market selection. Right. And by the way, so right now, I was planning. So back to Adams County here, I was planning to send out a, blind offer letter. I had that already, but then the discrepancy from low to high was it was insane. And so I said, no, there's just no way that I can really parse this out and make it make any sense, without taking a huge amount of time. And so I decided to just send out neutral letters on this. But I mean, generally, what I'd love to know is, kind of strategies for market selection, and then how you market to them.
So market selection, it's going to be like a multitude of things. You can go with your standard, like, 15% minimum sell-through rate in the last, 1 month, 25 in the last 3, and 50% in the last 6, right? That's like your standard run of the mill, right? I look at things also, I say, okay, well, we got that. That's great. I look at how many properties are active. If there's too much activity going on in the market, I almost don't want to be there, right? You don't necessarily want to be in a market where there's too much action going on, because you're never really going to find success. And these people are probably getting mailed 1,000 times, right? So that's one thing I kind of like. I'll look at. I go to look at like the on-market stuff, and I look at the types of properties that are there. I'm also going to look at how fast properties that are going pending and how fast they're selling. I look at how fast it took for them to go pending, or how fast it took them to sell, right? Because I want to see kind of how things are going in that county. So I want to see how fast they're moving. So I'll always look at like how fast stuff goes pending and all that, right?
So how do you determine that? What's your metric for that?
There's no necessarily like Here, I'll let me share my screen now.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do here, let's say we're going in here. Let's go look at go back to Land Insights. Markets. Go research. So let's just say we're doing 5 to 10s, right? I want to go in here. I want to go, okay, well, I want to see pending. I want to see a minimum of greater than or equal to in the last 6 months. I mostly care about like the 6 month stuff. So that means there's like staying power a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So greater than or equal to at least 5 sold in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I'll go we'll do 6 month STR greater than or equal to, let's just call it 75%. We'll start from there and work our way down. And then we'll go like this. So you can look at the higher ones or the lower ones, however you want to start it. Let's just say we did this, right? So, sorry, went the wrong way. So let's say we do it here. So let's see, there's 19 active in Ada County, Idaho. That's probably a little bit too much, right? In Kentucky, there's only 2 active, right? So let's look at Adair County, Kentucky.
What's your okay, so that's interesting. So 19 you feel would be too much. I'm just wondering kind of what's your range then for activity?
So I'm looking at a small size, 5 to 10 acres. So if there's 25 to 10 acres in a county, that might be too much. It might be all right. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
But I want to make sure what I'm looking for is selling fast. So
right.
Here, let's go. Adair County didn't have a lot in the 5 to 10 acre range. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just poke a peek at what their kind of properties are and how fast they're selling. So let's go here. Let's go sold. We'll go land. We'll go last year. We'll go 4 to 10 acres. I got 13 in the last. So let's just click one randomly. So you can see very regular lot, regular land, all that stuff. Regular road frontage, all that. Unrestricted small acreage. So this is a good indicator too. Unrestricted small acreage. This tells me like people might want bigger acreage in this area. I'll look at this. When was it listed? How fast did it go contingent? And it sold in like 40 days for pretty much asking price. So like, okay, that's great. That tells me that there's demand for this type of lot, right?
Hey Dennis, going back to what does that mean? Unrestricted. What was that you said?
Unrestricted, so this just said unrestricted small acreage. This just tells me that there's probably some demand for larger chunks of acreage, like 20 acres and above. If they're talking about small acreage, things like that.
I see, because it's relative, yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, like because if you think like some people would think like a 1 acre lot's big in an area, right? But then you go out here, like 5 acres might be too small. Like in Wisconsin, like 40 acres is like your average size lot. You know what I mean? So you got to think relative to the market.
Okay.
So this one here, passed it. January 23rd, went under contract in 6 days, 10 days, 8 days. Sorry. So right there, that's good. I'll look at these and I'll say how fast are they going pending. This went pending in 15, 20 days.
So you're looking at that in Redfin and not necessarily just from Land Insights, it looks like.
Land Insights is going to give you the target, and then you got to go and then actually look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not something that you could pull from Land Insights or anywhere. You got to like manually look at this stuff. So it takes a little bit of like time to do it, but I mean, you can spend a lot of money,
yeah.
Might as well look at this. This went pending in a day. Look at this.
Right.
This is a great freaking market. I would hit this county in a second. You know what I mean? Like it's already looking amazing. There's a lot of activity, things like that. Yeah, some of them are lower pricing, but I mean, you buy for 60. If it's a sell for 64, you bought this for 45. I mean, 40. You'll make some good money. Hang on. you could still make money. Buy for like 34 and sell for 64. You're gonna make 20 grand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's great.
and then I'll look up here. Let's look at the 20 acres. Let's see what they're doing. 10 to 20s. And then I'll check the demand in these same size kind of lots. I'll look at them and I'll say, okay, is the activity about the same? October, this took a lot longer. This took like 2.5 months. And I don't necessarily care about when it actually closes. I don't care about like days on market, because
right.
Sometimes it could take a long time for a person to get a loan or whatever the case may be, right? I look at this. When did it go listed and when did it get pending? And if they did a bunch of price changes, okay, when did the price get right to the point that it's sold, right? So here they went, this one took a long time too. So a lot of these actually, it looks like the 10 to 20s are taking longer to sell than the 5 to 10s. So right. June to July, this took 12 days. So this is good. Yeah. So June 25th, 35 days, dropped and then dropped again. Went pending in 10 days when they lowered the price. So yeah, so I'll look at that. So that was a good market, so like add that. Adams County ID.
And how did you so I saw the parameters that you used, but like it looks like you picked a certain state.
No, I picked anything.
Okay.
These are all states.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Mm-hmm. So you're really starting with the parameters, not even worrying about the state, it looks like.
No. Yeah, I start with the parameters and worry about the state later.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you go state by state, you could do the same exact thing. But
yeah,
just look at the parameters. Go where the numbers are telling you to go, right?
Right.
This one right here in ID, look at this. Adams County ID. I think I actually marked it here, right? ID. Let's see. So let's check the same parameters. 4 to 10. Now this one had more on market, like a lot of properties that were on market right now. Now you can see like this is not the whole county that's selling, right? It's two pockets, pocket here and a pocket here. So I would almost say like I'm not even going to market to anywhere else but these two pockets. That was just the last 3 months.
You do that by zip code?
You go by zip code, but look, like nothing is selling in the last year anywhere to the left, anywhere to the bottom right. It's pretty much all selling along this highway.
All along the highway.
That's it. All along the two highways. So when you pull your data, I would just draw a polygon around the two highways, and that's it. You know?
I haven't used that polygon yet.
Polygons are great. That's the best way to really parse the stuff out,
Right.
So
that would be another reason to use the data from Land Insights versus Priced. Yeah. I don't know that you can do the polygons with Priced.
I think you can. I just haven't. I've never.
Yeah, I actually, now I say that, I think I've heard you can, but I haven't figured it out.
Yeah, I've never really seen it or anything like that. So, but yeah, let's look at this land. Now, obviously, this is 200K, different price points, right? Completely different price points than the other place. But my second, and this went pending in 30 days. That's still great. Yeah. 30 days to go pending is great. Yep. I'm fine. I'd be fine if that was my lot and it sold in 30 days. I'd be super happy.
Yeah.
Fine, and especially a $200,000 lot.
Right.
It's great. So March, April, May, they finally got the price to 195, and then it went pending a couple days after they got the price right. So like all these, I don't really count these sometimes.
Right.
Because they priced it too high. They went above market.
Figure out the market. Yeah.
Yeah. They went above market. They're trying to push the comps. Didn't really work out. So I don't really constitute as like, okay, that's bad. I just look at, okay, when they got the price right, how long did it take to go pending?
Yep.
It took 5 days. Okay, great. And it sold a month later. Awesome. That's what you want to see. So yeah, so I'll go in here, I pick a county, and then from that county, then I go and like, I start looking at everything else, right? So I start looking at all the little things inside it. So we could sort by. What was sorting by?
You know, I wonder about another factor, which kind of leads to this other question I had, which is like what parameters do you look at for targeting? I think you mentioned in one of your trainings, like a 30,000, like you're averaging around 30,000 net.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to shoot for something like that. How would that affect your parameters?
So that's more of like when we're going to pull our market. So if we go to, let's check out Berkeley County, West Virginia, let's just say. So Berkeley County, West. Oh, let's not do that because that's sometimes doesn't come up. Calhoun, South Carolina. Calhoun. Let's see. Okay, so basically, I mean, I'm going to look at this and say, well, I guess the Adair County was probably better, right? Adair County actually had the pricing that we were looking at. Adair County, KY. Okay, so when we look at this, I'm just not going to market to like smaller properties. So if I see these are like buy for, sell for 30s, when I price out my markets, I mean, the little difference is like I'm pulling bulk data from Land Vision. So like I could pull unlimited data. And then when I price a market, I just scrub out anything that's about like below this. So I just don't send offers on deals that are below $40,000. I just don't send an offer. Because if I offered $40,000, that means I'm thinking the price is around 75,000, right?
Yep.
Which gives me that $35,000 spread after, before closing all that stuff. So what I do is I purposely just look at that and say, okay, well, I'm only going to send mail to stuff that is priced a little bit higher, right? Now there's times where like we like a market, so we might just lower it down a little bit, like maybe send an offer for 20K instead because we like a market or whatever the case may be. That's pretty much it. On the front side of things, you could look at the average price per acre, sold price per acre, and say like if you want to make, so if it's your average price per acre is $15,000, right, and it's a 5-acre lot, that's 75K, right? So if your average PPA is only $6,000 for 5 acres, well then you're not going to make enough money. It's only $30,000. So you're going to offer, 15,000 on that to make anything. So you could look at the PPA here on Land Insights. I think you could say, like if I'm median sold PPA, I want to say greater than or equal to for 5 to 10 acres. So let's say 10 acres, 60K. I want to be above, like say 7,000. Right. Boom. I'll just wipe out all those because I don't want to see anything because it's too low of a price.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll come in here and I'll start looking at like, looking at all of these different counties and whatever. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do for market selection. I'll look at that. There's a lot of like little factors we look at. Like my main VA, she tracks a whole bunch of stuff, but then what she also tracks is like what the volume is for each county, like the type of deal that's selling, how much is selling. She gives it like her own internal rating. She'll give it like a 1 through 5, 5 being the best, and then she'll say, okay, I don't want to market to anything that's 3 or less, so we only market to stuff that's 3 or above or whatever the case may be. It's her own internal thing that she does. So yeah, for market selection, let's look at a minimum. What did I put here? So I usually do a minimum of at least 5 sold in the last 6 months on smaller chunks, like 5 to 10 acres. If I'm doing a zip code, I'll look at like 3 sold in the last 6 months. So as long as I have a couple comps in a small acreage range, and then I look at least like a 50 or 75% sell through rate in 6 months. So, and those two things will get you pretty close to a good parameter. And then from there, that's when you dig in and say, okay, after I do those two things, what counties have good, days to pending and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, then you could kind of like pick out markets. Also look at trends. Like if you see a lot of like infill lots being sold in an area, right? And there's like a good, like there's builders are buying infill lots to build houses in a specific area, and you see like rural infill lots are going like pretty good. Like even if the STRs like aren't adding up, if you see the demands there, like knock those out, So I would mail those infill lots, some HOAs and stuff like that, and try to see if we can pick up a lot there.
Okay, cool. Well, I think, yeah, that really helps in terms of a method. It sounds like basically what you're doing is, setting your parameters to, let's say, price per acre, and then acreage size as a way to get to that place where, your net's going to be around 30 or so.
Yeah.
You would start there. Then you're looking at, depending on a couple of things, what the range of activity would be is somewhere between, sounds like around 5 to 20 ballpark. And that's going to vary according to some of these other factors.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at a market, I never like to put hard and fast numbers on things because it's all about like a feel.
Right.
So if I look at a market, there might be 40 properties listed, but if they're 40 like infill lots, let's say, and you're bringing a 5-acre rural rec lot onto the market, and it's a different type of property, that might sell a lot faster because nobody's looking for an infill lot. Maybe everybody's looking for that rural rec. Right. So you might be bringing something to the market that's in demand because you look at sold comps, but there's no availability. Right. And there's no way you could, pull that data anywhere. Right. You have to look at it. You have to be in there and looking at it.
Well, that's where Redfin, like, once you kind of get it narrowed down with Land Insights, and you look at Redfin to get a feel for where the demand might be.
And also you get a feel like on Redfin, like you look at the type of land that's selling, right? Because in Kentucky, it might only be farmland, right? So if you get lots with tons of trees on it, that might not sell like at all, right? So you might have to say, okay, well, anything with this type of lot, I need to market for at this price, but anything like this type of lot, I could sell for this price.
Yeah.
Well, I might not market for this type of lot in this area because it doesn't constitute the right price that I need.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to look at that. That's like nuances to a market. You're gonna have to look at.
One thing that just occurred to me is so just this morning I had a conversation with a broker who I went to Land Insights, looked up top, realtors in this certain area. It's a Yavapai County, which is a huge, huge freaking county. But what I'm aiming to do this year that I didn't do last year is when it gets to the point in the conversation where it's clear that they're not going to sell to an investor, they're not urgent, there's no motivation, whatever. I'm going to say, and once we have a relationship established, I'm going to say, well, why don't you list it?
Yeah.
And if they say, well, that's a good idea. How do I do that? And say, well, I can help you with that. And I haven't got a broker's license myself. I probably will at some point, but what I'm doing is building relationships in like certain areas. So like this agent that I was talking to this morning, I feel like she could really give me some insight into exactly what you were saying about the demand. Like, okay, so what kind of lots are selling around here? And she was telling me like this one little area that I thought, oh yeah, these wouldn't sell for more than 10,000 a piece. She said, I got builders that want these for 20 grand each. I wonder if that might be another way to, kind of get a feel for an area is talk to, some of the top land experts in that. You narrow it down to an area, then you would say, hey, maybe I'll give somebody a call and see what they say.
Exactly. That's what I do all the time. I always look at like realtors as a sounding board for areas. Hey, what's going on over here? Like what are the little pockets I should be looking at that maybe I don't find? Maybe the data's not showing me, but where should I look? And they'll always give you insight. Why? Because they want to get more deals listed. That's their goal, right? And you're a free marketing source. By them passing you information, you go spend the money for marketing. They get to list it later. That's
right.
So it's advantageous for them to do it, to give you this information. It's a no-brainer for them.
Right.
So having these good conversations are worth it for them because they might get an extra, just from you, that you might bring them 2-3 extra lots, but times that by 4 or 5 other people, in a year, they just made an extra $3 million.
Yeah.
Or well, no, they didn't make $3 million. They sold $3 million worth of, revenue, whatever. But that's it makes sense for them to do that, right?
Yeah.
Build those relationships, and then just get more data, and then boom, that'd be good. I do that a lot, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. And they'll give you insight too, like, hey, look, this specific area, this like subdivision, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of demand here, but we have no supply. Okay.
Right.
So, they'll say that, and then it's like, okay, well, how can I go get the supply there? You go market it, right? And look for lots. And then you can find out how much they're paying per acre and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
And then there you go. You're in the zone. So
yeah, I like that. Cool.
Yeah. So
cool. Dennis, what about like the way that you market to these people then? So right now what I'm doing is I think I may just go back to the neutral letters, just because I think I'm pretty good once I get somebody into a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if I'm going to go to this, kind of process of referring them to realtors if it doesn't work out as an investor buy. So I mean, what do you recommend for the marketing to them? Do you like send just a mailer and then send that every 90 days? Or do you like follow up with a phone call, or, blind versus neutral? What are your thoughts on that?
Everybody has their own like opinions. I personally like a blind offer because I'm only getting the pre-qualified leads, right? I'm not spending a lot of time chasing tail, trying to get pricing out at the end of the day. Like, obviously then there's other people that are like on the other side of the fence where they're like, I just want the phone ringing. And I get that, but the time wasted sometimes is not worth just having the phone ring, right? What's the point of having a phone ring if they're all bad leads? So, like that's kind of my theory, right? And then, a lot of people are on the school of thought, like, hey, look, let's hit them multifaceted. Let's call, text, email, whatever, hit them all, right? Do everything. And, they all work is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, they all work doing it like that. It's how you want your business to be, right? If you want to spend a lot of time on the phone and calling people and doing a lot of homework and being an appraiser, then send a lot of neutral letters, do a lot of cold calling and a lot of texting, and you'll become a master appraiser, right? You know what I mean? But if you just want to get deals and make them consistent and just be there, get the ones that are good and pass the rest, then that's what the blind offers do, right? It minimizes your business and allows you to kind of like only focus on the things you want to focus on. So that's...
Well, if I go back to the blind offers, which is kind of where I started the year, what's you have like I think I've seen some of your videos where you step through that, but is there like a kind of step-by-step process that you think of for it seems like what you're doing is you're batching them according to kind of price range, right? Once you have your list.
What do you mean, like pricing?
So when you're sending out your blind offers, you're putting a price on the letter.
Right.
And so you're sending a list to Rocket, right? And it'll have, let's say there's, let's say the parcels that are between a certain acreage range are going to be, you're going to look at those and you're going to say, well, I think probably the price per acre on this would be around, 20,000. And so I'm going to offer them, whatever. And then you go to the next range and you say, well, it looks like, 10 to 20 acres. This is probably going to be more like, 5,000 or whatever per acre. I mean, is that kind of the process that's used to kind of figure out how to, stick a price on these letters?
Yeah, pretty much. So I look at like, what are the comps in the area like selling for, what's the average of the comps, right? So if the average of the 20 acres, the 20 to 30 acres, the average is selling for 7K an acre, well then I'll go in and I'll price out that whole area. But not, it depends too on the county. Some counties, like the bottom of the county is selling for 7K an acre, but the top of the county is selling for 20K an acre. But then this little zip code is selling for like 2K an acre. Okay,
Right.
well, I want to take out that zip code and price that separately. I want to take the bottom of the county, price that separately, and the top of the county, price that separately, and
Right.
then price them all individually, so I'm getting a more accurate pricing. Or,
Right. And
for
so
the
for comps, you're probably looking at Redfin just to get a feel for each area.
Redfin Land Insights, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then for how you break it down, it sounds like you're doing it by zip. Is that about right?
A lot of times zip, yeah, and we'll do groupings of zips too, like not
Uh-huh.
necessarily like the entire zip,
Right.
or a singular zip. So sometimes like if we look at the map and we're looking at a specific county and we see like, okay, well, here I'll share my screen and just show you. Let's see. So if I'm looking at Adair County, we'll just go back here again. So you look at this county and you're saying, okay, well, I look at this and I'm like, I got along this highway right here is selling
Mhm.
for more, right? Everything here is selling for, 37, stuff like that. So probably this lower side. Um, and this northern side might be a little bit more. So I'll like draw polygons around areas and say like, okay, I'll price this like that and whatever. Let's see, let's go back. I'm gonna just do 2 years to get more data. So judging by this, I'm looking at this like here, like this whole area, I'd probably price less, like right here.
And
This area,
how would you know that from your list then? Is it not necessarily a zip code that would encompass that?
it might, it might. So what might have to happen though? So like let's say we notice that there's a couple of zip codes that are or like a market, like a specific area. Like we look at this and we say this area is this price, this area is this price, this area is that price.
Right.
When I pull my data, I'll go into my data provider and I'll draw a polygon like this. And I'll pull that and mark it as like
Okay.
Adair County
Okay.
zone 1.
So
And then
you
I'll
can
go
mark
over
it
here.
once you've zoned it out, and then that shows
Exactly.
up on the list as a particular
Exactly.
polygon. Okay,
So
interesting.
I would go here, I would say, okay, like this area I want to draw out and say I only want the comps from right here. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
my comps in this area right here.
Yep.
And then, okay, great. I have that. I'll pull that now. I'll go match this exact or pretty close to it.
Yeah.
I'll go pull that same data and
Right.
then check it.
Yeah.
Right now, you do have overlap. Sometimes you're going to mess up where you'll overlap a market and a parcel might be in this area and this area. So you
Sure.
might send them like two.
Yeah.
So then what you have to do is once you do that and you do your multiple pricing, you have to stack that list and check for duplicates to make sure you're not
Uh-huh.
sending the wrong price or
Oh, right.
the
Yeah.
same price to two people, right?
Yeah.
Or the same two different prices to the same person, right? So
Right.
you got to make sure you're doing that. So like we look at the granular, the zoning, and then say, okay, let's look at that. Why is this like this? Let me see if I can pull up one of my sheets.
So you would dedupe it first and then compare
Or
them.
after, either way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, either way. You got to just make sure you pull the duplicates out if you're double pulling the list.
Right.
That's all. You want to make sure. So that's why like having the polygon tool is so effective
Right.
because it really allows you to like get into that little granular stuff.
I'm gonna definitely have to learn how to use that.
Yeah, it's so worth it. Honestly is. Let me see. Scrub pricing. Hypergranular market pricing. That's more flips pending. Where is she? Where is that? Trying to see if I could show you one of our sheets, how we have it priced out. I don't see it on here though. So we used to have a granular pricing sheet. We changed it. Price prepped uploaded. Yeah, I don't have it. It's okay. Yeah, I had an older sheet that was like we would show like the different pockets, how we draw them out. So we would almost take like a county, if you're going to do county, or even a zip code. Honestly, you could do the same thing in a zip code and separate it into quadrants and say like, okay, this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Separate it and then price those independently. You might end up with like 2 quadrants in the zip code or a county, whatever the case may be. But you know, the more accurate you can be with pricing, the better you're going to be overall.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll try to change parse all that stuff out, make sure it's all like, you know, something we could like figure out why this is selling for more over here or whatever case. So, yeah. What else for pricing? What other questions you got?
I think that's it. That's a bunch of stuff right there that I think
Yeah.
is going to improve the game. And what do you think I ought to know that I don't?
I don't know. I don't know what you don't know, right? What are your KPIs right now to a deal?
So my average price per deal is a little over 12,000, and so things are picking up, but you know it's been slow to start. So I sold 2 the year before, sold 4 last year, and they're getting closer to the end of the year too. So it's like the momentum is there. It's just you know, it's just a matter of getting it done, getting the mailers out, and then
it's market out to get market in. Like that's really what it is. Like, the more mail you get out, the more deals you're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it's hard. It's not easy to.
Well, you're juggling a lot. I'm like wearing all the hats. I mean, actually, honestly, one of my next questions, although I think maybe is a little bit in advance of where I am now, but is like, I try to put everything into a process so that I can eventually outsource this to somebody. It sounds like you've got somebody who does a fair amount of your market selection process, right?
Yeah, she does all my market selection.
Yeah.
All my market selection, all my pricing, all my mail prep, everything. Scrubbing, everything is done.
Did she know that in advance, or did you like train her 100%?
When she came in, she didn't know a single thing about real estate at all. Not one little bit. She knew how to
a clean slate.
Spreadsheet. Yes.
Yeah.
She knew how to work a spreadsheet, and that's it.
Right.
Which is what I wanted.
Right.
And then I showed her everything, and now she's 90 times better than me. So
way to do it.
That's it. Honestly, it was the best thing ever. You know, you find somebody that's good and just keep feeding them the information they need.
Right.
And they end up being good. So
I kind of feel like I need to learn enough of it so that I can tell, you know, if they're competent at what they're doing before I, you know, let them take over type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to, you definitely don't want to like kind of, I had the meeting last week with Kate Walker. She's awesome. And she's like, you know, I want to learn every aspect of the business. So when I tell somebody I need you to do this, I know what to do. Right. Yep. Like I understand it. So you need to know everything so that you could go teach somebody it. Yeah. Right. We automated pretty quickly, but I do have a background in real estate, and we tried to get like people in here pretty quickly. That's kind of like, that was our ultimate goal, more by necessity than anything else, because like I have so much other crap going on that I need people to do stuff for me. Yeah. Even if it's like 80%, that's still better than what I could put towards it. So I went in, I did everything myself. I still try to do some things and keep myself fresh, but at this point, I don't know half of what she does, and it's hard for me to understand it. Actually, I had a meeting with her the other day. I'm like, I need you to start recording looms on everything you do, because I don't know what you do anymore. I don't know how you're doing this. I don't know how you're doing that. I said, you got to update me. And she's like, yeah, I know. Sorry, that's my fault. I will update you. I'm like, okay, good. So she's doing that. But yeah, no, you have to learn all the little aspects so that you could go tell them why you're picking markets like this. Why are we looking at this? Why are we looking at that? Because if you can't give them a why, then they're like, well, what do you even know what you're doing?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then, ultimately it comes out in the results. And, if you got to fix something, how do you know where to go?
mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how can you fix something if you don't know how to do it? So, yeah. Yeah,
You, you
learn
know,
all the aspects and then start slowly implementing somebody. You don't have to bring in somebody that's going to work 40 hours a week. You can bring somebody in that's like 10 hours a week in the beginning just to get their feet wet and then slowly increase their hours if they do right, you
yeah,
know?
that's a cool idea. And do you hire in the Philippines and
So I usually like go like on Upwork or something like that,
right?
and I'll put a job posting out with like a tester, like, hey, do this, right? People that apply, they'll either tell you I don't do work for free. Okay, cool. Then don't don't message me. That's fine.
Yeah,
But if I'm asking you to do like a 10-minute task, just like hop on there and do the 10-minute task.
right,
And if they do it right, then great. Okay, I'll bring them in. What I end up doing, like to find a rock star, is I hired 5 people, I think. I think I was running like 5 different people, all for 10 hours a week. Right. And I gave them all similar tasks. So it was like duplicate work a lot, but I had them doing the same task. And then I was watching which one was doing better. After a week, I cut 2 people. Okay, good. Now I had 3. Then I said, okay, let's keep going. So then I watched the next 3 people for like whatever. I changed their tasks, gave one this, gave one that, let them go on their merry way. I saw how they did. And then after that, cut another person. And then after another week, I just kept doing that until I got to the one that I have.
right.
So that this way, like, instead of hiring somebody, training somebody, teaching somebody something, and then they fizzle out and go
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
I have 5 choices to pick from.
yeah,
I had in total like 60 people do a test sheet, and that dwindled me down to 5 that I actually hired. And
right.
then there I kept only 2 and then 1. So,
Do you let them know they're competing?
not really, but also like they kind of understood that. You
Right.
know, I did tell people like when I hired them, I said I hired 5 of you guys, and this is what we're doing. And then I kind of let them all like just do their thing. But what I would do is like one sheet was like scrubbing one when I was hiring scrubbers. Simple tasks were like change the name, make a copy, change the name, put this, do that. If
Right.
they can't do that, then it's like you're done. You're
Yeah.
you're cut automatically, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then at the end, like, okay, after you're done scrubbing, type your name and put how long it took you, how many hours or how many minutes, whatever the case may be. And if they couldn't do that, then obviously they're cut, right? So then I didn't necessarily go by the person that was the fastest. I went by one that was the most accurate, but also like the reason why I got Michelle is because she was like she got on my thing and she was like she was what the hell was I saying? I checked in with her. I'm like, hey, is everything okay? It seems like you're taking a little while. And she's like, yeah, everything's fine. I just don't like how you did your sheet, so I'm just changing. And I was like,
She's
okay.
she's an independent
She's a
thinker.
keeper. Yeah. She's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
keeper. I like her. If she could tell me to F off like from the beginning, I like her. You're good. So, and she's been sticking around ever since. So
yeah,
it's kind of like you got to look for those like little rock stars, and you know, they're far and few between. So when
right.
you find them, you hold on to them.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, it's there's no reason to go fast in this business. People want to always go super fast. I don't think you have to. I think you just got to do what's right for you. And if you could make an extra 50 grand a year, great. If you can make an extra 100 grand a year, it's awesome. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody needs to have $1 million business, right? Everybody
yeah,
wants it, but do you want the headaches that come with it? You know,
yeah,
grow the business you want, right? And if it
yeah.
takes you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, great. Oh well, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing this on a very part-time basis. I'm running 2 other businesses. I really need to like focus more, but
You're like me, yeah. It's hard to, man. When you have that entrepreneur bug, it's like I can't focus. I that's why I know I need to automate. I can't focus. I need to hire people to do stuff, find operators, let them do it because
yeah,
I have
that's a place I'd like to go.
too much stuff. Yeah.
One of the
So
things I just wanted to say this, and
yeah,
that's about it. I think I'm good here. This is great.
cool.
But I just wanted to say one of the big takeaways I had from your presentation at the beginning of the year was that whole concept of return on effort.
Yeah.
Right? So I've heard it kind of before of like return on time invested, but really kind of like the mental effort and the, different ththings have different, like, are they really in your hedgehog or not? Is it really the thing you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
So that return on effort, I really, that's another thing I'm like
Yeah.
trying to figure out, how do I, kind of incorporate that into things.
That's one of my biggest factors when I'm looking at anything. Like, if I don't like something and it's heavy to me, I don't want to do it. I want stuff that's light. Like, don't do the heavy work.
Yeah.
Right. People talk shit about getting your hands dirty and doing work yourself. But if you love doing it, do it.
Yeah.
Like you love working on your car, go work on your car. Yeah, you could save money bringing it to the mechanic. But if you love it, do it. Like, I mow my lawn. I love mowing my lawn. Right. It's great. Can I just hire a guy to come do it? Absolutely. But I love it. So like my ROE on that, is super low, but my enjoyment's super high. So it's like, okay, I'll keep that. If there's something like where I could get a higher return on effort and like, okay, how much time am I putting into this and do I hate it? Then, okay, I want to hire that out. Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I look at everything like that. Like if I have a task, what I usually do is like, once I find something that I'm doing, I write down every single little like thing that has to happen. Like for land, let's say.
Yep.
Market selection, create, pricing mailers, pulling data, sending mail to the mail house, getting leads in, handling dispositions, all that stuff, right? Those are all the little things. So I'll write down all the little minutia that goes in between it. And I'll say, okay, pick 3 things that I like. Okay. I pick 3 things out of that. Everything else, have somebody else do. Right. And then once I pick my 3 things, those are my areas of focus. And those are the only 3 things I should be focusing on. Everything else should go by the way, like go to other people, let them do it. And then focus on my 3 things. And then, same thing with that. And then after a little time, I say, okay, well, there's more things that got added to my plate, as inevitably it always happens. I say, what can I get rid of again? How can I skinny this up a little bit more? My ultimate goal is to keep lowering my time I spend, but how much money do I make per hour on it? What's my return on effort on that? So, yeah.
Cool. I love it. That's really cool. I got to do more of that.
Yeah. So cool, man. Yeah. If you want, grab another session. Let's do more of these. It'd be good to get up.
I want to go make some money first.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dennis.
Yep.
Take care.
See you soon, man.
Ciao.
Thanks all. Have a good one.